We all look towards success. We see the final results, the victory, the freedom, the recognition, but we so often fail to recognize the immense unseen price of that achievement. There is a principle, a law as fundamental as gravity, that dictates nearly every outcome in our lives. And today we're going to break down that law. We're going to understand the discipline mindset. Right there. That single statement contains the entire code. Champions are not born in the spotlight of victory. They are not made when the path is clear and their energy is high. No. They are forged. They are built cell by cell in the quiet darkness of the struggle. On the days when every fiber of their being cries out for rest, for an end to the frustration. They are made in the moments they choose to show up anyway. And this leads us to what I call the great separation. It's the moment a dividing line is drawn in the sand. It separates those who merely wish for a result from those who are willing to earn it. And this separation, you see, has nothing to do with talent or luck or genius. It has everything to do with endurance. Let that question really sink in. How many people truly are willing to perform the same unglamorous, repetitive tasks day after day, especially on the days they don't feel like it? This is the precise intersection where most journeys end. It's the place where the grand dream collides with the mundane reality of the work required. And it is here, in this daily decision, that the person who achieves separates from the person who only dreams. Here's a difficult truth: success is indifferent to your schedule. It doesn't care about your deadlines or your expectations. So many people start a new path and give it a week, perhaps a month. But when the world doesn't reshape itself to their liking, they give up. They walk away, convinced it didn't work. What they fail to grasp is that success operates on its own timeline, a natural one, like the growing of a tree. Its only demand is that you remain in the game long enough for your efforts to accumulate, to compound, and to finally matter. So this brings us to the core conflict, the battle that rages within each of us every single day. It is the primal battle between our fleeting emotions and our deliberate decisions. It's the war between how we feel in the moment and who we have decided we want to become. Just look at this contrast. Motivation, it's a spark. It's a powerful, wonderful feeling, but it's temporary. It's an emotional state that comes and goes with the weather. Discipline, however, that is something else entirely. Discipline is not a feeling, it is a decision. It is a conscious choice to honor the commitment you made to your future self long after the mood you made it in has passed. And it is this act, this honoring of your own word, that builds a foundation of true, unshakable self-respect. And we see this exact same dynamic play out with talent. Talent is a gift for sure. It might open the first door for you, but it's consistency that allows you to stay in the room. You see, talent loves to negotiate. It gets tired. It makes excuses. It believes its own hype. But consistency has no ego. It has no opinion. It doesn't need to feel good. It just shows up. And over the long, grueling arc of time, the person who just shows up will always defeat the person with wasted potential. So if real, lasting change doesn't come from a single heroic leap, then how is it built? Well, it's built through a force that is almost invisible in the moment, but is earth-shudderingly powerful over time. It's the power of small, daily, compounding actions. Think about this. It's never the single action that creates the transformation. It is the relentless, patient accumulation of those actions. One single workout, it's just a moment of exertion. But hundreds of them, stacked one on top of the other, that builds a new body. Reading one page might give you a single idea, but reading every single day, that forges a new mind. It rewires the very pathways of your thought. I want you to start framing it this way in your mind. Every time you choose the disciplined action over the easy one, every time you sit down to do the work when you'd rather not, you are casting a vote. It's a vote for the future version of yourself. With each small decision, you are literally constructing, piece by piece, the identity you wish to have. And what is the grand results of all those daily votes, all those accumulated steps? It's momentum. It is that beautiful, powerful state where your habits become so deeply ingrained that moving forward requires less energy than stopping. You build a force within yourself so powerful that it carries you, making it easier to continue than it is to turn back. Now, let's talk about the days that truly define you. I'm not talking about the easy days, when you feel great and the wind is at your back. I'm talking about the hard days, the days that test your very resolve. Because this is where real strength is built. This is the critical perspective shift that changes everything. Most of us, we interpret difficulty as a stop sign. We think the struggle means we're failing, that we're on the wrong path. But the truth is the exact opposite. The struggle is not a sign that you are failing. The struggle is the clearest possible sign that you are growing. Growth does not happen in comfort. It only and exclusively happens at the edge of your current ability. Think about what is being forged in the furnace of those hard days. Resilience, discipline, patience, endurance. These are not just nice-sounding words. They are the absolute bedrock of a powerful character. This is the inner strength that, once you have earned it through struggle, can never, ever be taken from you. And all of this leads to the final, most profound stage of this transformation. This is what happens when the practice of consistency is maintained for so long that it stops being something you do, and it becomes a part of who you are. It becomes your identity. Listen to the profound difference in that internal dialogue. The shift is immense. You no longer say, "I'm trying to be disciplined," which implies struggle and the possibility of failure. Instead, you begin to say, "This is who I am. This is what I do." What was once a monumental effort becomes automatic. What was once a chore becomes your nature. And as this identity shifts within you, the external world begins to respond in kind. You become known as someone who shows up, as someone who finishes what they start, as someone who is still there, working, long after all the others have disappeared. And the world gives its greatest rewards not to the most talented, but to the most reliable. And this is the end game, when the very idea of quitting is so foreign to you that it's no longer an option you even consider. When your commitment is absolute, you enter a new state of being. You become, for all intents and purposes, unstoppable. So that leaves us with this one final question, a choice that you don't just make once, but that you must make every single day. Will you stop when things get hard? Will you retreat to comfort? Or will you keep going day after day until you have built so much momentum, so much character, that success has no other choice but to find you? The choice, as always, is yours. Let's talk about the single most fundamental shift you can make in your life. This isn't some quick fix or a magic pill. No. This is about unlocking the one great power you already have inside you, the power of ownership. This right here, this is the whole game. It's such a powerful idea. Look, life isn't always fair. We all get dealt a different hand. That's just how it is. But the second you accept total responsibility for your next move, well, that's when everything changes. So, if taking responsibility is so powerful, why don't we all just do it? Well, it's because it's so easy to fall into a really common trap, the blame trap. And this just nails the problem, doesn't it? It's so much easier to point a finger at your job, at the economy, at your past, than it is to point the thumb right back at yourself. And you know what? Society sometimes even rewards that victim mentality. But it's just a form of self-sabotage that keeps you completely and utterly stuck. Now look at this. This slide really lays out the choice we all have. On one side, you've got the victim. They get maybe a little temporary relief from blaming everyone else, but they go nowhere. And on the other side, you have the hero. They take on the weight of responsibility, and because of that, they earn the power to actually change, to evolve. So the question is, which one are you? So how do we get out of that blame trap? Well, the antidote is a really powerful shift in your mindset. It's called radical ownership. Now listen closely. This is not about blaming yourself. Not at all. It's about empowering yourself. It's about understanding that even if something isn't your fault, how you respond, that is 100% your responsibility. And that right there is where all your power is hiding. This is so important to get. The moment you stop blaming, you take back control. Even when things are completely unfair, just asking yourself, okay, what can I do now? It puts you in the driver's seat. It lets you learn, adapt, and face the next challenge even stronger. This is the perfect way to think about it. Blaming other people is like living your life from the passenger seat. Sure, it's less work, but you have zero say in where the car is going. Taking ownership, that's you grabbing the steering wheel and deciding on a destination for yourself. Okay, so we know the problem and we've got the antidote, but how do we actually do this? Well, the method starts inside, with rewriting the story that you're constantly telling yourself. You have to understand this. Your world is built on a story. We don't just see what's out there, we filter it. We interpret it through our own internal narrative. So if you feel stuck, it's because the story you're telling yourself is a story about being stuck. If you want to change your world, you have to start by changing that story. Here's the playbook. It's a simple 3-step process. First, just be honest about the story you're currently living. Acknowledge it. Second, define its exact opposite. What's the story you actually want to be living? Get crystal clear on that. And third, and this is the most important part, take small, daily actions that prove that new story is true. Read 20 pages, do a 10-minute workout. Just one small thing. And believe me, those small actions are everything. They start to stack up, they compound. And after a while, you're not just telling a new story anymore, you're living it. You start to see the evidence of your own change all around you, and that new identity becomes your new reality. Now, let's be real for a second. This path is not easy. It definitely comes with a price. And that price is learning to embrace the struggle, to welcome the discomfort that you need for growth. This is such a powerful way to reframe things. That feeling of strain, of being pushed right to your edge, that's not a signal to quit. It's a gift. It's the price of admission for getting better. It's a privilege you earn on your way to becoming more than you are right now. You're gonna have setbacks. It's gonna happen. But they are not a judgment on who you are or what you're capable of. Failure isn't personal. It's just data. It's the necessary ingredient, like the water that a plant needs to grow. And that brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important part of all of this. All this knowledge means nothing without one thing: the courage to just begin. 1. You are always just one decision away from a totally different life. One action, one choice, one single step is all it takes to change your path forever. Never ever underestimate the power of that first move. And remember this, greatness doesn't always look like some spectacular, heroic moment. Most of the time, it's just about simple tenacity. It's about finding the will to keep going when every part of you, and maybe the whole world, is telling you to just give up. So we have to end with a question for you. The real miracle isn't crossing the finish line. It's finding the courage to show up at the starting line in the first place. You have the diagnosis, you have the antidote, you have the method. The only thing left to decide is, what will you begin? Welcome. Let me ask you something. What if you could literally change your entire life just by using 2 simple words? Today, we're going to unlock the power of I am and see how this one simple phrase can become the command center for creating the reality you actually want. But first, a quick question for you. That little voice inside your head, the narrator of your life, what's the story it tells you every single day? Is it your biggest fan, just a neutral observer, or is it something a little more critical? You know, for a lot of us, that voice is our inner critic, and it's running the show, constantly creating this story of doubt and what we can't do. But what if you could just fire that critic? In this explainer, we're going to learn how to consciously rewrite that script and start telling a much more powerful story for ourselves. Alright, so first things first, we've got to hold up a mirror to that inner voice. We need to get really clear on the narrative it's been running, because only then do we know exactly what we're here to change. And here it is. This is that internal battle, right out in the open. On one side, you've got those old familiar whispers. I'm not good enough. I just can't do this. But look at the other side. There's a simple but profound rebuttal. Notice it doesn't argue, it doesn't fight, it just declares a new truth. That is the fundamental power we are about to tap into. Now, this is way more than just positive thinking. We're talking about a very specific 2-word command that lets you pivot from doubt to power, like in an instant. It's a way to directly instruct your subconscious mind. Okay, this is the key distinction right here. I am isn't a passive description of how things are right now. No, it is an active declaration of the reality you are creating. It's the difference between thinking, man, I wish I were confident, and actively commanding, I am confident. You're literally telling your subconscious to get in line with this new truth. So what's the end game here? It's to turn your own thoughts into your greatest allies. When you consistently use I am statements, you are consciously choosing the thoughts that serve you, that support you, and that empower you. You are training your mind to be your own best friend. So, how do we actually put this to work in a structured way? Well, we can use this little 2-word command to build a whole new reality. And we're going to do it with 3 foundational pillars of creation. Pillar number 1. This is the bedrock, the absolute foundation of everything, an unshakable sense of self-worth. This isn't about having to earn your value. It's about claiming the worth that is already yours. Simply stating, I am enough. Full stop. And you know, this is so much more than just a nice sounding phrase. It's a real, powerful daily practice. It's about looking yourself in the mirror and choosing to see strength over flaws, beauty over imperfections. It's an act of radical self-acceptance. Once you've got that solid foundation of self-worth, we can move on to pillar 2. This is where you become the architect of your own life. These declarations shift you from being a passenger to actually getting behind the wheel. You stop waiting for happiness to come find you, and you start actively creating it for yourself. Just think about the power packed into that simple statement. It's not saying challenges don't exist. Of course they do. It's affirming that you have everything you need inside you to meet them head on. This is how you build that mental and emotional toughness to overcome any obstacle that comes your way. And this is how you start writing the script for your future. When you keep declaring, my future is bright, you're basically training your brain to scan for opportunities, to see potential, and to take actions that line up with that very future you're busy creating. All right, our third and final pillar is all about building an inner sanctuary. You know, in a world that can be so chaotic, This is your superpower. It's your ability to cultivate a state of inner peace that just can't be disturbed. It's about realizing that peace isn't something you find out there. It's something you actively create in here. And this is such a vital piece of the puzzle. Real peace, it doesn't come from gripping tighter and trying to control every single outcome. It comes from trust. Trusting yourself, trusting the process, and letting go of that need to manage every last detail. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But the real magic, the real change, happens when you actually do it. So how do you start using this tool? Right here, right now. And honestly, it really is this simple. You don't need a special location or a huge chunk of time. First, just pick one statement that really speaks to you today. Second, find a quiet moment. Seriously, even just for a single breath will do. And third, speak it with conviction. Actually feel the energy of those words as you declare them. So let's be super clear about the mindset here. This isn't about passive wishing and hoping. This is active, intentional creation. Every single I am statement you make is a powerful decision about the person you are choosing to be in this very moment. And that brings us, well, not to an end, but to a beginning. The power to create your own reality, it's been inside you all along. The only question left is, what will you declare? What reality are you going to choose to create? The time to start is right here, right now. All right, take a deep breath with me. We're about to dive into a mindset, the kind that separates the good from the truly great. And listen, this isn't just about simple motivation. This is about a fundamental shift in how you see everything, your life, your struggles, and your real potential. And it all starts with this one powerful truth. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, this moment, right now. This is it. This is your life. The only question is, are you spending it in a way that will make you proud? So let's begin. The first step is an awakening. It's about confronting all the comfort, the excuses, the reasons you've told yourself you can't. It's time for a real, honest look in the mirror, and it all begins with one simple question. How dare you? And I don't ask that with anger. I ask it with a deep sense of all the potential that's being wasted. How dare you complain? How dare you tell yourself you're done, that it's over? How dare you settle? Let's put this in perspective for a second. Right now, as we speak, there are people fighting terminal diseases, just hoping, praying for one more moment, and they haven't given up. Your bad day, your struggles, yeah, they're real, but they are not the end. Your life isn't over. In fact, it has just begun. And that brings us to something absolutely crucial, the price of greatness. See, we all want success. We all want the prize. But you have to understand that the struggle isn't some obstacle in your way. The struggle is the way. The very first principle on that path is this: suffer now. And look, this isn't about punishment. It's about making a choice, choosing the hard work of growth over the comfort of staying the same. And here's why. There are no shortcuts. It's a universal law. You have to understand what struggle is to even know what the reward feels like. That pain you feel, that's your power. That's your passion. That's the very thing making you stronger for whatever comes tomorrow. The second principle is to embrace sacrifice. This is where your ambition meets your discipline. It's about all the work you put in when nobody's around to clap for you. And that right there, that highlights the big disconnect, doesn't it? Everybody wants to hold the trophy. Everybody wants the title of champion. But are they willing to do the work of a champion? to give everything you have, every single hour of every single day. That's the only question that matters. And now for the final, and maybe the toughest, principle of them all. Welcome failure. We spend our lives terrified of falling down, but what if falling is actually a required part of the climb? You have to let this sink in because it changes everything. Failure isn't falling down. Failure is staying down. So every single time you get back on your feet, you haven't failed. You're just learning. You're growing. You're still in the fight. You see, all of this, the struggle, the sacrifice, the failure, it all builds towards the main event. The only battle that has ever truly mattered. It's not you against the world. It's you versus you. Inside your head, there's a war going on every single day. There's that voice of weakness, right? It whispers, just go back to bed. You're not good enough. It's too hard. But then there's another voice, the voice of strength. And it doesn't whisper, it shouts. It's the fire inside, telling you to get up, plant your feet, and rise and grind. It's the voice that says, I got this, and prove them wrong. This is exactly why you have to tune out all the noise. The haters, the doubters, your circumstances, they're all just distractions. The only conversation that can make you or break you is the one happening right between your ears. And when that conversation gets tough, when your body is tired and your mind feels weak, there is only one response. You have to keep pushing. When the world tells you that you're done, you keep pushing. When your own doubts start to creep in, you keep pushing. Through the pain, through the setbacks, through those moments when you feel like you have absolutely nothing left in the tank, you dig deeper and you keep pushing. You push until your weakness breaks. You push until the excuses starve. You keep pushing because of one simple truth. If your heart is still beating, if there is still air in your lungs, you are not done yet. And that relentless push, it brings you right here, to this moment, the moment where everything can change. Your ascent doesn't start tomorrow, or next week, or when you feel like it. It begins right now. I want you to really think about that. Every battle you fought, every scar you've earned, every single time you got knocked down and found a way back up, it all led you to this point. It was all just preparation. You cannot quit now. So what does this climb demand of you? It demands that you accept full responsibility, to be accountable with zero excuses, to be productive because your time matters, to be powerful in your beliefs, to wake up every single day trying to be better, and yes, to prove all the doubters, especially the one inside your own head, wrong. Because in the end, it all comes down to ownership. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody owes you a thing. This is your life. This is your moment. This is your business. And the final message isn't a suggestion. It's a command. Stop waiting. Stop complaining. Stop wishing. Start doing. It's time. Conduct your business.